Greetings, everyone. Welcome to my sketchbook. It is very early Wednesday morning, and there was something I wanted to show you guys just for fun before I start today's doodle. You may have seen in my Monopoly collection in that video that I have a bunch of other games that have nothing to do with Monopoly, but this is something that's kind of interesting. This is a All in the Family Archie Bunker card game. And let's see here. Inside of here, you get a bunch of cards, and you're meant to play them in such a way. I think you start off with 7 of each card, and you're supposed to predict how many hands that you can win. And in here, you have 4 of the main characters. So this is Archie Bunker, who's, of course, that's the show. That's Carol O'Connor. Here you have Edith Bunker, that's Archie's wife. This would be Jean Stapleton. And then you have the daughter. This is Gloria. And this is Sally Struthers, or played by Sally Struthers. And this is Mike. And played by Rob Reiner. Now, Rob Reiner is well, in the show they called him Meathead. But yeah, a couple of days ago on the 14th, there was a tragedy involving Rob Reiner and his wife. And I don't know, I just sort of thought about that for a moment or so. He was 78 years old, but an awesome movie director and producer, even of TV shows too. And yeah, anyway, so I'll see if I can link these things together. But on the show All in the Family, there was like a spin-off of the Jeffersons. And that was one of my favorite sort of like characters. Now that character, that was played by Sherman Hemsley, George Jefferson, I should say. And on that show, you have Roxy Roker, who is Lenny Kravitz's mom, is on that show. I'm going to open up the inkwell here. Now, how do I connect what I'm going to draw today to Rob Reiner? Well, Rob Reiner directed a lot of movies, or I should say a bunch of movies. He did like Misery, which is an adaptation of a Stephen King book. That movie starred Kathy Bates and James Caan. James Caan is in Jon Favreau's movie Elf with Will Ferrell. Now, I don't know if beyond that, if there's another connection. I don't know if you remember years ago, there was kind of a thing where people would connect Rob Reiner, not Rob Reiner, Kevin Bacon, to people in Hollywood. But anyway, so today's doodle is going to be about Elf. And I don't know, let's see how this goes. So yeah, like I said, it's just sort of thinking about Rob Reiner and his wife, Michele. So I'm just going to sort of sketch something out here quick, and then maybe fill in some details after. I don't have any pictures of, or even a movie cover of Will Ferrell. So this is just going to be more cartoony than anything else. So I'm going to get just the basics of a shape here to start. Now, I don't know if you can see that. Let's zoom in on this. And as I said, we'll get the detail after. So yeah, this won't look like Will Ferrell. the proportions are probably going to be kind of strange. We'll see. And I'm going to zoom it out just a little bit here. I believe the waist is kind of high, so his belt will be kind of high. I'm under the impression that he has curly hair, which helps to hide the fact that he doesn't have elf ears. I could be wrong in that. Let's see here. His belt might be a little bit thicker, but we can fix that. Now, this movie's kind of become a Christmas classic. From what I saw in my little bit of research, this was an actually was an original screenplay by David Berenbaum, who I guess enjoyed the works of David Sedaris, I believe, and of course then it, you know, kind of falls into the hands of Jon Favreau. Let's see, I'm going to try to zoom this out again. Let's just leave that there, and maybe you'll be able to see it. Just trying to think of how I want the legs to look. Let's move this up a little bit. It's nice that they wear tights. That must be kind of weird for Will Ferrell to sort of move around in for the shoot. Maybe kind of fun too, I don't know. Of course, down here we'll have pointy toe, but curled up at the end because he's wearing elf shoes. This side. Maybe this leg will just kind of have tilted out a little bit. So we'll get more of the calf going on that side. Maybe a bit more of the side of that boot. Of the heel. We'll see a little bit more of that awesome elf shoe. Something like that. Let's work on a little bit of this hat. Ooh, well, that went really tall. It's all right, we can fix that because we still have to make room for his hair. There's a stripe. He's got sort of a feather in it. And I think some of the things about Will Ferrell in this movie, I think they kind of they can aggravate people, and I don't know what it was like to work with him. I'm sure it was fun a lot of the time. He's an immensely funny guy, but some of the things that he does, uh, and I think he does it pretty well, is like a very exaggerated, like almost childlike wonder thing. So he can get really excited about certain things, and I think it's funny anyway. Some people may not enjoy it as much. Um, but like I said, I think his hair is meant to kind of hide that he doesn't have ears like the other elves, and that he's very different than the other elves. And let's make the hat maybe a little bit wider. Now, I'm not sure what to do with the hands exactly, and but I do want to draw uh, Papa Elf. So I think most of the elves are not much taller than his belt. They're kind of half his size. So I gotta dip the pen here. Of course, Papa Elf's quite a bit older too. Something that just kind of popped into my head. I mean, this is Bob Newhart. Um, Ed Asner's in this movie as well, and Ed Asner's an awesome actor. He would have done the voice of Hudson, I believe, in the Gargoyles series, animated series, which is pretty cool. I used to like that show a lot. Let's see. We'll have the eyes kind of looking up once we get there. We gotta have the elf ears. Maybe I made this elf a little too tall. I have an idea. Give him a belt buckle as well. reminds me, Zoe Deschanel is in this movie, who's in the show New Girl. And I know a lot of people really enjoyed that show as well. Rob Reiner was in that show, playing Zoe Deschanel's father, along with Jamie Curtis as her mom. I kind of forgot about that. So I have them with a very similar kind of stance here, but not exactly. Just to show kind of like relative size. Let's see, what do I want the hands to do? Yeah, I think he should have been a lot shorter. And a feather here. Maybe we'll put something in his hand. So this would be like the thumb. And then we'll have could have a toy, I guess. And I'm going to try to draw, let's have the other side. This is going to be a rocking horse. Just a small doll-sized rocking horse. Little pointy ears and a mane, and a tail. Something like that. And there'd probably be a little bit of a sleeve that you could see. So Buddy the Elf. Okay, so I don't know if you see that. And, we're going to add a little bit of detail if we can, and see what happens with that. But before I add the detail, I think, you know what, I'm going to back this back out again. I'm going to add a bit of color to this, I think. And then I can detail things after. So I'm going to start off by using this green. I'm going to see if I can kind of quickly add some color. The Sharpies are kind of fun to use. Although on this paper it seems to absorb and kind of spread a little bit. This might have been kind of interesting to do it all in Sharpie. Now, Buddy kind of lives on candy, or I should say, kind of lives for candy. How about that? Because as an elf, he needs to be he needs to be able to eat, to do all the things he does, and he seems to just kind of run on sugar, which isn't really a normal thing for most human beings, but he has so much energy. I think there's a part in the movie where he eats like spaghetti with like maple syrup and candy, and that to him is just like the most wonderful breakfast ever. I'm going to try to leave some space here. Ooh, you know what? I'm going to maybe use a little bit of the acrylic markers as well, because it can go right over the top of things. So the last few days where I am, it's been pretty cold, but I think the next few days are going to be kind of warm. So I think it'll probably reach warmer temperatures, and maybe there'll be some rain, and it might take away some snow, and we'll see how it goes. Now, let's work on the hat of my unusually tall elf, Papa Elf. Leave some room for the feather. Yeah, he could have been a lot shorter. It's kind of a funny part in the movie that also has Peter Dinklage in it. Who's an awesome actor. Let's see. Okay, now I'm almost done with this green. The green is pretty wild. I don't know if I've seen this movie in a couple of years. I feel like I haven't. perhaps this will be the year to watch it again. Okay, so there's that. I'm going to use this black marker. I'm just going to kind of quickly fill in the belt parts and maybe the shoes. So yeah, let me know in the comments what your favorite Christmas movie is, or holiday movie if it has nothing to do with Christmas. And for those of you who've kind of been following me along for a little bit, thanks for, for following me along for a little bit, and hopefully you have your sketchbook as well, and you're just putting ideas down on paper, which I think is awesome to do. And I know that some of what I put down is really just strange ideas. It's just kind of fun. I know some people really enjoy Bruce Willis movies for Christmas. I don't know if I've ever really considered. I mean, you know what? There's a lot of movies that people have that are just for tradition's sake. And I think that is, you got to have fun too. So if that's fun, well, that's fine. Some people like to have their traditions, so. Leo, you know who you are. Ooh, I wonder how much that's going through the page. I put like another a piece of paper behind. I guess I could check that out, but it's too late now. Okay, so that, and as I said, I do have some acrylic markers. I saved the yellow. Oh, you know what? I do believe there's some sort of like Nordic flower stuff going on around here. But I guess maybe I could fix that up after. I'm just going to kind of scribble in some stuff there, and Papa Elf would have it too. It's just some detailing around his lapel seams and stuff. Let's open this up. Oh, there we go. I kind of wish that point was a little bit sharper. Oh, that's not so bad. I kind of have to be careful with the ink in this because this can drag out that ink. I don't think it will so much with the marker though, because it's permanent, but the ink pen definitely could be a problem, so I have to kind of be aware of that. The band on his hat is yellow, and of course He wears yellow tights, just like the rest of the elves. Huh, it will go over the marker reasonably. You don't always have to do stuff in layers like the way I'm doing it. If you did this all in permanent pen, you wouldn't have to deal with this the same way. I'm just going to put in some little scrolly things here, and hopefully it'll kind of settle in. And then yeah. So it did settle a little bit. I don't think I need that to rotate. Okay. I have a brown marker, acrylic pen, and I'm just going to work that into the toy. Okay. Well, you know what? Let's do the hair in the same. And then perhaps we'll zoom in and do a little bit of detail work. And then we can just sort of close this down, because right now we're over 30 minutes. Yeah, let's do some of the detail work, I think. We'll zoom in. Now, I don't know. I don't think that looks a lot like Will Ferrell. But that's okay. I think there were some difficulties and then some things that just worked out wonderfully in the making of this movie. I remember watching a little bit of a behind the scenes with it, how things just kind of fell into place. Like, for example, getting the music, like the movie score, done by John Williams. I think that was like an awesome thing. And people just wanted to work on this movie for positivity's sake, it seemed. Because I don't think it was like a big budget movie. I think they, yeah, had a lot of restrictions. And maybe I have a little bit of Where's Waldo hiding in here as well. last few videos have been very much related to elves, which is kind of fun. I don't know how many of you have seen elves out and about. Maybe they've helped you with your shoes. That'd be kind of interesting. Maybe you've seen them on a shelf. That's pretty interesting. That could be kind of fun to draw. Now, let's see here. Some wrinkles in the fabric of the jacket. We'll go to Papa Elf here in a moment. Something that I think is kind of neat is people that do the painting on windows. Now, I tried doing something like that at my own home. It would have been a while ago. But you have to think backwards. So, depending on where you want to see certain details, you might put color down first, or you might want to put kind of like stained glass. You put the outline down and then fill it in. But yeah, you kind of have to think, okay, so where do I want to place this or that, or so that seems kind of like a neat thing. But I admire that kind of stuff. You know, I didn't fill in the feathers on their hats. I can do that. Now, I just had another sort of thing pop into my head. He wears glasses, but they're like reading glasses. And I think it's kind of funny. Also in this movie, there's an actor named Peter Billingsley. I think Michelson or Mike. Yeah. Anyway, he's also a movie director, I believe. He would have done the reboot. Not a reboot. Maybe a companion movie to A Christmas Story, which he was a star of many years ago. I think he wears similar glasses to Papa Elf, but he's in this movie as well. That just sort of popped into my head. You may notice that I've turned my pen upside down just so I can do the detailing a little bit. It adds a different sort of control to do this. I kind of naturally just do it. If the line seems a little thicker than normal, then I just flip it around. This is a good all-in-one kind of tool. I don't always pay attention to the camera, so hopefully I'm getting some of what I'm doing down. My unmanicured hands. I've never had a manicure. Not that that's a terrible thing. Yeah. I mean, I try to trim my nails and do that kind of stuff, but I've never had like someone professionally take care of my hands, other than doctors after I've like broken a finger or something. But now let's see here. Just making sure that some of the details of the eyes I think that was almost a good remembrance of sorts that Papa Alf wears glasses, especially for reading wonderful bedtime stories. Which again is an interesting reminder of Rob Reiner. If you've seen The Princess Bride, that's a wonderful bedtime story. He directed that. Let's see. "44 minutes. Well, I didn't really plan on this being much more than a doodle, but I think it's turning into much more than a doodle. Details can always add time. I think there's like, as I said, there's like little flowers and scrolly things. I'll just add a little bit of detail to this horse, and maybe we'll kind of let this come to an end, because this isn't really the main focus of what we have going on. As a child, I don't know if I had a rocking horse. There's a possibility, I suppose. If I did, it was probably a hand-me-down. Which isn't the worst thing. If someone's finished with something, I think it's good to pass it along so someone else can make use of it. Just adding a little bit of the detail of the hands. Should be green back here. Before I move away from the face. Like I said, maybe I was thinking of Where's Waldo? Huh. Now I think I'll just work on the pants with an outline, and then that'll be pretty much it. I don't know how many of you saw that weird little move. I don't know where I got that thing to just sort of do like a last minute little flick like that. You know what I mean? Sort of like when you learn to shave, for some reason that is a finishing move as well, which can be potentially damaging. So I don't really recommend that. I don't know where that came from. But I find that I do that every once in a while. But I think it's in some ways meant to, well, I'm overanalyzing this, but maybe it's meant to thin a line towards the end as lifting off at the same time as you're doing that. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I just sort of noticed that I just did that, but I think I naturally do that. I think that's kind of fun. Clean up a little bit of the shoes because of the marker bleed. So what was just basically a sketch turned into a marker, doodle, and then the doodle slightly more refined. I think that's kind of fun. Got meathead off to one side there. What else? What else? What else? Oh, my goodness. I said I was going to do this. Here we are at almost 50 minutes. This is macaroni. And we'll do one up here as well. Well, I think that is kind of it. I don't think I need to go really any further than that. Ooh, maybe there. I think that's okay. Maybe I'll put a little gleam in Buddy's eyes. I'll give him a little bit of the under eye there as well. Okay. I don't know why that's not going in focus. All right then, folks. Thanks for hanging out. Sorry it was a longer video than normal. Just wanted to do something kind of fun. And there you go. That's, well, at least my version of Buddy the Elf. And Papa Elf as well, who's slightly taller than probably he should be if he's supposed to be kind of like more half Buddy's size. But that's what you get. I'll probably fix a few other little details if I can. As I said, well, let me do that right now, because I'll turn the page here and be done. That's enough. All right, thanks for hanging out. Have a wonderful day, everyone, and yeah, come back again if you wish, and we'll draw some more fun things. Okay, ciao for now.